And away we go. Episode 1185 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, October 27th, 2025. It is a game day for the Washington Commanders. The final game of Week 8 of the NFL's 2025 regular season has the 3-4 Commanders at the 4-3 Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football at 8:15. And the game is happening on the 11-year anniversary of the Colt McCoy game, October 27th, 2014, a 2017 overtime win for the Redskins at the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. One of the most shocking results in the history of the Washington-Dallas rivalry, in part because the Skins went with backup Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback. Might we see a repeat of the Colt McCoy game on Monday night? Hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, Brotherhood. We've heard that word a lot over the last year and a half, right? Brotherhood. That concept is big for Dan Quinn as Commanders head coach. The team's brotherhood is being put to the test right now, with the team having lost 3 of its last 4 games and 4 of its last 6 games. We, during Quinn's post-practice press conference early Saturday afternoon, had this exchange between Candy Waller of Bowie TV Sports and Quinn.
We've often talked about the brotherhood and all that. And so what, from your perspective as a head coach, what is this current state of the brotherhood right now? It's not putting you in a skid. So
yeah, I think when it's going really well, that's the time that you don't lean in on it and you don't find out a lot. It's the times that it gets the hardest that you lean in on it together. And what I've seen from practice, I'm pleased knowing that this is the things I was calling on for the week. Would I be able to see that? Would we be able to deliver on that? And so during the week, there's brutal honesty that goes with it. And I want to see them respond. And if a team or a person doesn't, then you have red flags to say, okay, you hit the big emergency brake and nothing happened. You know, you want to see players and people respond. And so what I saw was a response. And consistency would take care of things to go up and up and up. And so that's what I'm looking for from the team, because over the last 2 weeks, it certainly hasn't been to the standard that we want. So we address it, we say it, but I also want to see the response. And the first part that I could see was at practice. And so for 3 days, I've liked what I've seen. Now that has to carry into the ball game for us to play faster, more consistent, and more to capture our style that we want to be.
Well, how prepared, how ready are the Commanders for this game at the Chiefs? Are the Commanders going to get smashed as they did in their last game, the 44-22 loss at the Cowboys on October 19th? Or maybe, just maybe, are the Commanders going to rise to the occasion? Coming up on the show, in-depth preview of Commanders at the Chiefs. Next segment, analysis of the Commanders offense versus the Chiefs defense, including receivers Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel Sr., each being set to play off having been out due to injury, and what the Commanders are facing in the Chiefs' quality defense. The following segment, analysis of the Commanders defense versus the Chiefs offense, including a troubling injury development with interior defensive lineman Daron Payne, and insight from defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr. on changes that are happening for the team's struggling defense. The segment after that, a deep dive on the Chiefs, as we'll speak with Chiefs insider Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated. He also is the co-host of an NFL podcast, That Football Show, on the KC Sports Network. And then we'll give you my rhyming keys for a Commanders win at the Chiefs, and I'll provide you with my prediction for the game. Also on the show, I'll talk Washington Capitals. They over the weekend went 1-1-0 with 2 very different results. Friday night, a 5-1 win at the Columbus Blue Jackets, but Saturday night, a 7-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators at Capital One Arena. And by the way, also with the Caps over the weekend was some ugly news. The Caps on Sunday afternoon announced having fired assistant coach Mitch Love. He had been under investigation by the NHL since June for allegations related to his personal conduct. Statement from the Caps on Sunday afternoon, quote, Mitch Love has been relieved of his duties as an assistant coach effective immediately. This decision follows the findings of an NHL-led investigation into past allegations. The organization is committed to maintaining the highest standards of conduct and accountability, end quote. NHL insider Frank Saravalli, in a post on X on Sunday afternoon said that the NHL has suspended Mitch Love for the entirety of this season following an investigation into alleged domestic abuse, and that the alleged victim reported allegations directly to the NHL and to teams Love interviewed with over the summer for head coaching vacancies. On a lighter note, I on the show have a Washington Wizards segment for you. They, over the weekend, went 1-1. Friday night, a 117-107 win at the Dallas Mavericks in a game in which the Wizards overcame a 14-point first-quarter deficit and led for the entire second half. But Sunday evening, a 139-113 loss to the Charlotte Hornets at Capital One Arena in a game in which the Wizards blew a 13-point third-quarter lead. And I have lots of conversation for you about the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region off Week 9 of the 2025 college football season. 4 of the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region played over the weekend. Each of the 4 teams won. Before we get to some feedback, we at last have intel on the Washington Nationals managerial search. And that's insider Andrew Golden of the Washington Post. He had a post on X on Saturday afternoon reported that the Nats within the last week had interviewed their interim manager, Miguel Cairo, and Cleveland Guardians associate manager Craig Albernaz, and MLB insider John Heyman of the New York Post. He had a piece that came out on Friday evening reported that the Nats have interviewed former Baltimore Orioles manager Brandon Hyde. That would be something. Brandon Hyde as the Nats manager. There had been very little out there about the Orioles managerial search, but we on Sunday night had reports that the O's are hiring Craig Albernaz as manager. Craig Albernaz, not exactly a household name, but he, per ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan in a post on X, quote, was a widely sought-after candidate for open managerial jobs, end quote. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Redskins fan on the Commanders defense, writes Redskins fan. Hey, Al, a lot of people are calling for which job? First of all, Dan Quinn is co-signing on all of these things. That's Dan Quinn's specialty, the defense. Second of all, to keep firing coaches is part of the problem. The defense can't get used to the system, so the defense keeps having missed assignments. It's frustrating, but we have to give the team some time. Just like I have to give the GM some time. We need consistency. We can't have that with continued coaching changes. Now for Lattimore. He's not playing as bad as people think. Number one, he's a physical corner, and the refs are doing him a disservice. They aren't giving him the ability to be physical like other DBs. The refs are singling him out. Number two, he's right there on most plays. The receivers are making good catches and making good offensive PIs. Sometimes his defensive friends are putting him in bad positions. And yeah, he makes mistakes too. Let's bench him if there is someone else better than him. But if there was someone else better than him, then that person should be playing already. Players shouldn't go from being starters to getting kicked off teams. Doesn't make sense. That's why we have no depth. Some of the people we let go got starting positions elsewhere. Instead of letting these guys go, let's build our depth. Also, let's give players a chance to grow in the system. We are only one game below 500. We have to grow as a team. We also have to grow as a fan base. Hope you have my back. So what say you? Well, thank you for the email, Redskins fan. I will always have your back, my friend. I agree that the onus to figure out the defense is on both the head coach, Dan Quinn, and the defensive coordinator, Joe Whitt Jr. Dan Quinn is a head coach with a defensive background. His excellent track record as an NFL defensive coordinator is a big part of why he has gotten 2 NFL head coaching jobs. And so, yeah, this defense is as much his defense as it is Witt's. As for Marshawn Lattimore, yes, he is close on some plays. And yes, he at times has been victimized by ticky-tack officiating, but you can't say that he has played well for the Commanders. Like, if we're just bottom-lining the Marshawn Lattimore tenure with the Commanders, you can't say that he has played well. And I'm not saying that Redskins fan was saying that, but Lattimore was acquired via trade with the New Orleans Saints nearly 1 year ago, November 5th, 2024, on what was 2024 NFL trade deadline day, to be the Commanders' number 1 cornerback, to be their CB1. He has not played like a true CB1. He has gotten targeted by teams a ton. he has routinely gotten worked in matchups with big-time receivers. And here's the best test of how you feel about Marshawn Lattimore. So he has zero guaranteed money left on his contract. The Saints in September 2021 signed Lattimore to a 5-year contract extension, but he and the Saints restructured that contract. So the Commanders actually acquired him for relative pennies for the rest of the 2024 season, a mere $605,000 against the salary cap for the rest of the 2024 season. And the Commanders got Lattimore as having 2 years and reported $36.5 million, none of it guaranteed, over the rest of his contract. And so we have this. The Commanders this coming offseason can release Lattimore in a very painless way. Right now, would you say that the Commanders this coming offseason should release Lattimore? Yeah, of course. Now, maybe, hopefully, he plays well moving forward, and the team wants to keep him for next season. But right now, the notion of the team keeping him beyond this season seems laughable. And that is the ultimate verdict of how he has played for the team, at least so far. Email from Josh on Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Writes Josh, "Hey Al, is it time to order the Code Red?" Thank you for the email, Josh. So not only is Commanders at the Chiefs taking place on the 11-year anniversary of the Colt McCoy game, Commanders at the Chiefs also is taking place on just about the 10-year anniversary of the Code Red game. The You Like That game, a game so memorable it has 2 nicknames. Largest regular season comeback win in franchise history. October 25th, 2015, a 31-30 Redskins win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at FedEx Field. The Skins overcame a 24-0 second quarter deficit. The Code Red game was 10 years ago this past Saturday. I would not call Commanders at the Chiefs Code Red for the Commanders. Their next 2 games, which are NFC games, are candidates to be Code Red games. Commanders at the Chiefs is an inter-conference game. Inter-conference games do not matter as much as intra-conference games, but the Commanders certainly could use this win, however improbable. Code Red, Skins head coach Jay Gruden, during his post-game press conference off the Skins' 34-20 loss at the New York Jets on October 18th. 2015 to fall to 2-4 in the 2015 regular season, called the game against the Bucs a Code Red game. Here was that.
It's a critical game for us. Very critical. It's a home game, number one. We're going to play a very tough, spirited Tampa Bay team coming off a bye again. Healthy Tampa Bay team. That's critical. It's Code Red for us.
Yes, Code Red. Had the Skins lost the Code Red game, Jay Gruden may have been fired, and you know who may have been benched. Instead, the Skins won the Code Red game and went on to win the NFC East that season. Catering by Uptown. It provides catering to perfection, whatever event you're planning, especially a wedding. Visit cateringbyuptown.com. Mention that Al Galdi sent you and see what Catering by Uptown can do for you. Just give Catering by Uptown a chance. See what Catering by Uptown can do for you. Catering by Uptown provides both great service and a great price. Catering by Uptown is a family business. It is run by the Pereiras, who are great Commanders fans and loyal supporters of this podcast. Catering by Uptown specializes in handling everything so that you don't have to. Catering by Uptown understands that special events deserve to be celebrated in style and thus takes care of every detail so that you can enjoy your event. Great service, amazing cuisine, and reliability are the foundation of what makes Catering by Uptown one of the most referred caterers throughout Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. And know this, if you go to cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can set up your own personal tour of one of Catering by Uptown's premier venues, including outstanding waterfront venues. Catering by Uptown offers the ability to coordinate services at over 100 of the best reception halls, vineyards, farms, historic homes, event venues, banquet facilities, and wedding venues in the area. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. In a season in which we've had so much bad injury news for the Washington Commanders, I'm happy to say that we do have some good injury news for the team. Its top two receivers, Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel Sr., are back. Each guy fully practiced on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and is good to go for the game at the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football at 8:15. The Commanders' final injury report for the game came out on Saturday afternoon. The report had an injury status for each of two Commanders' offensive players and also for one special teams player. Quarterback Jayden Daniels, as we already knew, is out due to the right hamstring injury that he suffered in the 44-22 loss at the Dallas Cowboys on October 19th. Tight end Colson Yankoff is out due to a hamstring injury that he suffered during Friday's practice. And kicker Matt Gay is questionable due to a back ailment. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn, he did a post-practice press conference early Saturday afternoon. During that presser, had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Quinn.
Status for Terry, Deebo?
Terry and Deebo both have had good weeks, and man, we're excited to get them back on the field.
They will play Monday.
Yes.
Okay.
Before I also go, two players we'll rule out will be Jayden, and yesterday Colson Yankoff injured his hamstring, so both of those guys will be out. Colson was the one that we just injured yesterday and checked today.
All right, but Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel are back. McLaurin has been inactive for each of the team's last 4 games due to a quadriceps injury. Samuel was inactive for the loss at the Cowboys due to a heel injury. Each of the Commanders' top 3 receivers was out for that loss at the Cowboys, right, as Noah Brown is on the reserve/injured list. We on Saturday afternoon had this exchange between Commanders insider Nikki Javala of The Athletic and Dan Quinn.
What do those two add back to the offense for you guys?
They had a lot, I think, in different ways, Nikki, and so much of, their games are similar but different. In other words, we're like on some of the deep plays with Terry on play passes and over routes and things that are shots down the field where Deebo has some catch and run as well to it. So they both run all of the routes in the system, but just being in there and how they can make plays, it's definitely a big deal. That also affects other parts of the offense and running game and other things to go with it. So matchup. So, I'm excited to get these guys back into the mix. And they are too, because, missing and not being in it's hard. And so they're excited.
Will be very nice to have Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel back, but the Commanders will not have their QB1, Jayden Daniels. He is out for the 3rd time in 8 games for the Commanders in this regular season due to injury. He previously missed 2 games due to a left knee injury. Marcus Mariota, over his 2 regular seasons with the Commanders, has mostly delivered when called upon. How is he going to do in this game at a Chiefs team with a really good defense? Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, he on Friday right around noon did a pre-practice press conference. During that presser, had this exchange between Commanders insider Tom Shad of the Washington Post and Kingsbury.
Cliff, no Jayden again this week. How pleased have you been with what you've seen from Marcus, and what changes for you, if anything, when he's under center?
Yeah, he's been tremendous, really. I think going back to last year, was a tough spot this last week. We didn't play very good overall. We were down big. He had one throw he'd like to have back, but just his command of the offense, the way he leads, the way he prepares, the way he's played in the games has been really good. So not much will change. We'll try to do stuff that he likes, specific to him, and try to tailor the game plan to that. But other than that, we'll just cut it loose and let it go.
It is worth noting that the Commanders, even with all of their injuries on offense, have had one of the better offenses in the NFL. The Commanders for this regular season through Week 7 were number 14 in the NFL in total offense per DVOA. Okay, not great, but that is upper half of the NFL. And we're number 10 in the NFL in total offense per expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. But yes, the injuries, very frustrating. And so the offense has not been at the elite level that the offense was at last season. We on Friday had this exchange between Nikki Javala and Cliff Kingsbury.
For you, over these last 7 weeks, as you've had to adjust to guys being out and whatnot, what has that been like? And, has it sort of tested you as well, I guess?
No, I think it's comes with the territory. It's always a battle of attrition throughout the NFL season, and so it's kind of how you can continue to maximize who you have and putting them in positions to be successful. And so we've shown some signs that we have a chance to be a pretty good offense. I just think consistency and being able to protect the football has held us back so far.
With the Chiefs defense, so their defensive coordinator is Steve Spagnuolo. He has been the Chiefs defensive coordinator since January 2019. He's 65. His very first NFL job was as a player personnel intern for the Redskins in 1983. But this Chiefs defense does not care about that. This Chiefs defense has plenty of talent. One of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL, and Chris Jones, a quality edge defender, and George Karlaftis, a high-level cornerback, and Trent McDuffie. Here was Marcus Mariota during his post-practice press conference this past Thursday afternoon on the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because when I was at the Titans, I played against Spags, and he's been there for a long time. And what's cool, just from an observer and just watching tape of them, like they just have so many interchangeable parts where they can get guys that maybe played safety in college, that played linebacker, then they can kind of move around and maybe he plays in the post, maybe he's playing in the box. So they do a great job of just kind of creating different and unique looks. And then on top of that, when you got good players, when you guys got guys like Chris Jones up front, McDuffie and those guys, like when they're rolling too, they're playing great. But it's a very unique challenge, and one that it's kind of funny. Like I can even go look back in my notes from almost 10 years ago, and like he's completely changed on how he does it. And the challenge that it poses to us is like it's so unique, kind of year to year, maybe even game to game. So for us, being able to communicate and just getting everybody on the same page, that way at the end of the day, we can just go out there and execute what our plan is.
Well, for whatever it's worth, Marcus Mariota famously won a playoff game at the Chiefs. Did so as the Tennessee Titans QB1. January 6th, 2018, the Titans won at the Chiefs 22-21 in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs in what was quarterback Alex Smith's final game with the Chiefs. They later that month agreed to trade him to the Redskins. But that game also is remembered for Mariota remarkably throwing a touchdown pass to himself. That is one of the wackier highlights in NFL postseason history. And, given the Commanders' many injuries at receiver, the quarterback throwing a touchdown pass to himself actually isn't such a bad idea. But thankfully, Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel are back. More now on the Washington Commanders in preparation for their game at the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football at 8:15. The Commanders' final injury report for this game had an injury status for the game for just one Commanders defensive player, a very significant player. Interior defensive lineman Daron Payne. He has been maybe the team's best defensive player this season, but he is questionable for the game due to a toe ailment. He did not practice on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Here was Commanders head coach Dan Quinn during his post-practice press conference early Saturday afternoon on Daron Payne.
Yeah, he's dealing with a toe that's bothered him, so just kind of working through that to get him into that spot. But I'll know more over the next day and a half.
So we'll see about Daron Payne for Monday night, but him being out would be brutal. The Commanders already are without a number of key defensive linemen and edge defenders, Dorrance Armstrong, Dietrich Wise Jr., and Javonte Jean-Baptiste. All of them are on the reserve/injured list already. Payne and Armstrong have been two of the team's best defensive players this season, maybe the two best. The Chiefs' final injury report for this game had an injury status for the game for each of just two Chiefs players. Two offensive linemen. Left tackle Josh Simmons is out due to a personal reason. More on his situation next segment. And right guard Trey Smith is doubtful due to a back issue. So what now with this Commanders defense? The 3-4 Commanders had the following rankings among the NFL's 32 teams in the 2025 regular season through Week 7. Number 18 in total defense in terms of DVOA. Number 24 in total defense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. Number 28 in lowest opponents' yards per play, 5.84. Number 19 in lowest opponents' third down efficiency, 39.1. And tied for number 29 in takeaways, 3. Meantime, the 4-3 Chiefs, They had the following rankings among the NFL's 32 teams in the 2025 regular season through Week 7. Number 2 in total offense in terms of DVOA. Number 3 in total offense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. Number 10 in yards per play, 5.71. Number 2 in third down efficiency, 44.4. We saw the Commanders' defense get shredded in the 44-22 loss at the Dallas Cowboys on October 19th. What's going to happen at the Chiefs? Commanders defensive coordinator Joe Whitt Jr. He late Friday morning did a pre-practice press conference. This was Whitt during the opening statement of the presser.
The obvious statement, the last game wasn't what we wanted in any facet. They were able to get explosives on plays that necessarily they shouldn't have, but they did. And so, I know you guys taught the Q, and we're paring some things down to any calls that had layers to it. The main focus right now is to speed up the play, okay? If there's anything that's causing any hesitation, let's speed up the play with, limiting the layers on the calls. Or we looked at every call, okay, which calls are giving up any explosives, which calls aren't. Even if a call might be better in certain situations, how can we get them playing fast? So that's what we're going to do moving forward.
So Joe Whitt right there emphasizing the need for the defense to play faster and that is the foundation for the change that is happening. What goes into that change? We on Friday morning had this back and forth between Commanders insider John Keim of ESPN and Joe Whitt.
When you talk about removing some of the layers, are you talking about checks at the line, checks, or is it the rules of the defense? What are you talking about with that?
Well, if there's any calls that might be formational based where, okay, if he's in the gun, we might mean one thing. If he's underneath, we might be in another thing. Taking those layers away and just say, okay, hey, this is what we're going to be in. The call might be better for those situations, but if it's making people be a little bit slower, we're going to take those layers off, things like that.
What more can you do as a defensive coordinator, play caller, can you do to help this group?
We have to make sure that the communication is what it is, the details, we're playing fast, and the main thing is if we can pick up the play speed, the ball will come to life. And so as a coach, you have to take doubt out of the equation, any doubt or any hesitation, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to pare things back a little bit and allow the guys to play fast.
All right, sounds good. Hopefully, we do see that on Monday night. Now, head coach Dan Quinn, during his pre-practice press conference on Thursday afternoon, indicated that no major defensive personnel changes are happening. Well, not so fast on that. Joe Whitt on Friday morning revealed some things. Here was Whitt on Friday morning on the play of the Commanders' linebackers, and then you'll hear a follow-up exchange with John Keim.
I've been pleased with the backers. I think Bobby and Oos have played well. We're going to give Jordan more looks and more opportunities. He came in and played with good speed, so I'm excited to see him with his snap count going up. And then you'll see a little bit of Kane as well to see how he can add to the party as well.
You guys looked at all these changes, coming up with personnel or the layers that you said. Was there ever any thought to any personnel changes on defense? Is there anywhere you could go that you even looked at?
Yeah, and you'll probably see some of it this week. Yes.
Okay, so Joe Whitt over those two exchanges saying that we'll be seeing some change at linebacker in more Jordan McGee and more Kane Medrano, and that we'll probably see some personnel change on Monday night. Not sure if he meant simply what he had just said about McGee and Medrano or something more. McGee in this regular season has played on just 47 defensive snaps. Medrano, 0. He has only played on special teams, and he has only played in one game, the 34-27 loss at the Atlanta Falcons on September 28th. But how about the Commanders secondary? I mean, that has been the worst part of the defense. I mentioned key Commanders edge defenders on the reserve/injured list. Also on the list is safety Will Harris, and the team, according to Joe Whitt, very much misses Harris. We on Friday morning had this exchange between Candy Waller of Bowie TV Sports and Whitt.
Hey, Coach, I know one of the things that you all have been talking about is, I'm going back to your point about communication. So what is your assessment thus far through the 7 games on how you all are doing in that area, and what are some things that you could do, if need be, to correct that?
It's been a little bit like the play. It's been, certain guys have been really good communicators. Some haven't. You know, nobody really talks about the loss of Will Harris, who was a really good communicator. And so, but that's one reason that we will, you know, pare some things back to eliminate some communications that we might have in reduction play. So, but it's been like we played. It's been not good enough, you know, and how we've played hasn't been good enough. So we've been really diligent of looking at every aspect of it, and we got to get it turned. You know, we got to get it turned, and we need to get it turned now. So.
Yes, you do, but getting it turned now involves facing an elite offense in that of the Chiefs, who have an elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, who is playing at a high level. Mahomes, over 7 games this regular season, has 14 touchdown passes versus 2 interceptions and has 42 carries for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's on pace to have arguably his best rushing season as an NFL quarterback. We on Friday morning had this exchange between Mitch Tischler of Monumental Sports Network and Joe Whitt.
You talk about Patrick Mahomes being, you know, the quarterback that he is in terms of the pass rush getting to him. How important is it to kind of get him off his spot and make him uncomfortable? And how do you balance kind of doing that without letting him get outside the pocket and make plays off schedule?
Yeah, he's. You know, that's what he does. He can throw with anticipation from the pocket, and also when he gets out, he doesn't have to be in you know, have his feet set or anything. He can make every throw from every way. So we need to be able to get to him. We need to be able to send him where we want to send him, where his percentage of throws is down, and control it from that way. You know, make sure we keep eyes on him where he can't just, because if he sees it, he's rushed for as many first downs as any quarterback in the league. So we can't allow that also, because that's how they keep drives going. We have to get the stops on third down.
Yeah, this is quite the matchup on Monday night. A reeling Commanders defense against a surging Chiefs offense, quarterbacked by maybe the best quarterback in the history of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. It has been a Washington, D.C. institution for decades. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wronged but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Founded in 1979, the Nace Law Group offers fierce advocacy on behalf of medical malpractice, birth injury, and personal injury victims. Led by the great Chris Nace, the Nace Law Group is focused on providing exceptional care and counsel for those who need such things the most. The Nace Law Group fights for what it believes in: you, your family, and your future. You with the Nace Law Group have an experienced advocate on your side. The Nace Law Group has secured millions of dollars in verdict and settlement amounts for clients to better enable them to care for themselves and their families. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. I am not happy about the Washington Commanders having lost 3 of their last 4 games and 4 of their last 6 games. I am not happy about the Washington Commanders being just 3-4 in the NFL's 2025 regular season. But as I've been saying on the podcast, their season is not over. The team has played just 7 of its 17 games in this regular season. 10 games are left. A lot of season is left. And if you follow the NFL for like 5 minutes, you should know that this league is a week-to-week league in which things change quickly. Just look at the Commanders' opponent on Monday night, the Kansas City Chiefs. They've gone from 0-2 to 4-3, 4 wins in the last 5 games. The Chiefs at 0-2 were being talked about as a dynasty past its best days. The Chiefs now are being talked about as the favorite to win the AFC Championship game. Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football at 8:15. I am pleased to welcome to the Al Galdi podcast Chiefs insider Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated. He also is the co-host of an NFL podcast, That Football Show, on the KC Sports Network. You can follow him on X at Matt Verderame, and Verderame is spelled Verderame. Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to talk to you. I'd like to actually start with the Chiefs' defense. Steve Spagnuolo is in his 7th season as Chiefs defensive coordinator, and his unit is doing really well. The Chiefs for this regular season through Week 7 were number 9 in the NFL in total defense per DVOA, and were number 10 in the NFL in total defense in terms of expected points added per play per RBSDM.com. Is this the best Chiefs defense over Patrick Mahomes' 8 seasons as the Chiefs QB1?
No, the 2023 defense was absurd. They won the Super Bowl basically on the strength of that defense by itself. They offensively were a tire fire most of that year, and Mahomes did enough in the playoffs. But it's probably the second best. You could argue that, but I mean, look, they're not great up front in the sense that they don't win a ton of one-on-ones outside of Jones. And Jones has games where he'll win 8 of them like instantly, and that just that's enough. Karlaftis has been good this year. He's consistent. He's one of those guys who wins a lot of reps just based on kind of wearing a guy down. He plays better as the game goes on. Other than those two, it's kind of a mix of guys. They rely on Charles Menahu a little bit, but it's not. The pass rush is probably the weaker point. Their biggest strength is their secondary. They can play. They'll play a lot of zone, but they're willing to just get in man on man when they have to and play a lot of press man and say, beat us, do it. And McDuffie is a real linchpin because he can play inside or outside. They move him all over the place. They have 3 safeties they play. Tramari Connor's a good safety. He's a terrible slot corner, but he's a good safety. They'll play him back there now with Brian Cook, and they rotate in Jaden Hicks about half of the snaps. And then they have Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil and Leo Chenal in the middle. And those guys are, look, Bolton's more of a downhill, stop the run type of guy. Tranquil's a little bit of a mixed bag. Chenal's probably best when he's playing in coverage. But they're just really well coached. I mean, Spagnuolo is really the biggest part of that. He's very hard to pin down as an offensive play caller because they do a lot of different things. And they make it all look very similar. They'll have a bunch of snaps, I'm sure, on Monday night where they'll put 6 guys at the line and they'll drop 3 of them. They'll drop 2 of them. They'll bring everybody. And it's just very hard to decipher what they're doing. You almost have to kind of guess right.
How is the Chiefs' run defense?
They're funny with their run defense. So all the numbers, you look at it and say, well, that's probably like something you'd prefer to do against them. But they're odd in the sense that if they decide that's what they want to stop, they're usually really good at it. Like in the Super Bowl, they got killed by Philadelphia. Barkley did nothing in the game. Like they were like, we are not getting beat that way. And actually played pretty well defensively. You look at the score, it wouldn't show that, but it was because the offense couldn't do anything. They were never on the field. They shut Barkley down earlier this year. They shut down the Ravens rushing game. They shut that. I mean, the Lions with Gibbs and Montgomery didn't even have 100 yards total rushing in that game. They've kind of, a lot of their yards that they've given up on the ground have been garbage time. Like Justice Hill had like a 71-yard touchdown run with like a minute to go in the game. They're winning by 30 points. But look, if you're going to run on them, I think the way to do it is probably try to get him inside. Omar Norman-Lott, their second-round pick, played pretty well as a D tackle. He's out for the year with a torn ACL. Jones is fine against the run, but certainly he'd rather just rush the passer. They signed Derek Nottie back. Actually, they traded for him. They swapped late-round picks with the Jets. Derek Nottie's been a disaster. He is a weak point up front. They'll play Jerry Tillery. He's not particularly great. He's better than Nottie, but still not great. The big thing if you're going to run inside is getting Bolton out of there. Because if you can clear Bolton out of there, then you've got now. But if not, then he'll fill. But I would say if you're Washington, you probably want to run inside. They have very good tackling corners. The Chiefs have willing tacklers at corner. You probably want to try to go between the tackles.
It's no coincidence that the Chiefs have gone from 0-2 to 4-3 while getting back 2 key receivers in Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. The Chiefs took Xavier Worthy with the number 28 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft out of the University of Texas. He missed 2 games due to a shoulder injury that he suffered in the Chiefs' 27-21 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers in Brazil on September 5th. The Chiefs took Rashee Rice in the second round of the 2023 NFL Draft out of SMU. He was suspended by the NFL without pay for the Chiefs' first 6 games of this regular season. This due to a violation of the league's personal conduct policy. He this past July was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation for pleading guilty to 2 third-degree felony charges: collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury. How much of the Chiefs' recent success is them having Worthy and Rice back?
I think it's a combination of things. Certainly, look, they were missing Worthy outside of the first drive of the season for 3 weeks. And they were also missing Rice for 6 games because of a very justified suspension. So they really were going into these games with Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton as their 3 receivers. And that's a hard way to live when you just don't have the ability to really get open playing and play out. There are a lot of games where out of the first 3 games, a lot of drives where they couldn't get open, they couldn't separate. Worthy coming back changed a lot of that. That opened things up for Kelsey. I don't think it's any coincidence Kelsey started playing better when Worthy got there. And then last week with Rice coming back, look, last week is the most dominant game I've ever seen the Chiefs play. Like, if the Chiefs wanted to beat the Raiders by 60 points, they would have done it. They pulled their starters in the third quarter up 31-0. They were kneeling on the ball before the 2-minute warning. I mean, they basically were they were going to a running clock. The Chiefs last week, when they had the starters in the game, they had 5 offensive possessions. They had 31 points. They averaged over 80 yards a drive. I mean, they just took the ball. It was like, here it comes. What are you going to do about it? And the Raiders basically said nothing. I think it's the weapons being back for sure, but I will say I think the biggest difference is this is the best offensive line he's ever played behind, ever. It's not even close. I mean, I think everybody anticipated Joe Thuney being traded to Chicago. They put in Kingsley Suamataia. Suamataia last year as a tackle out of BYU as a rookie was awful. They benched him 2 games into the season. As a guard in the preseason, he looked awful. And in the first 2 weeks, he wasn't that good, but has since been a stone wall. And then they drafted Josh Simmons at left tackle, who was awesome, but then he left for personal reasons. He's still not back. They brought in Jalen Moore, who they signed as a free agent, 2 years, $30 million. Jalen Moore came in and was able to handle Hutchinson and Crosby without any problem. So this has been a very, very good offensive line. Now, Trey Smith may miss this game. We'll see. He's been dealing with back spasms. If he's out, Mike Caliendo's in. Mike Caliendo's fine as a backup, but he's not Trey Smith. But that's been the biggest difference, is Mahomes has just been able to sit back there and just sit there for 3 seconds and throw the football. And if he's got 3 seconds, it's over.
You mentioned the Chiefs starting left tackle Josh Simmons. They took him with the number 32 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft out of Ohio State. He has missed the Chiefs' last 2 games due to a personal matter that is cloaked in secrecy. He is out for this game on Monday night. What is the deal with this situation?
I don't think anybody really knows. I mean, the best of my knowledge, reaching out to people around the team and in the league, I think, look, he left the Sunday they played the Lions, week 6. He left the team hotel at around 5 o'clock in that morning and flew to Southern California, back to where he's from, back near San Diego. To my understanding, it is a family matter. It is not, at least for him, I can't speak to whether it is or not for his family, but it's not a legal matter. Like, to my understanding, he's not in any kind of legal trouble. But it's really unclear. The Chiefs have been very, very tight-lipped about it. There's no timetable for his return. Now, I think it's interesting they haven't put him on the NFI list. They haven't put him on the non-football injury list, which if he goes on that, he's got to be out a minimum of 4 games. So that would kind of tell you they might think he'll be back before then. They play the Commanders, then they play the Bills, then they have a bye week, and they come out of it and they play at Denver. My guess, and it is strictly a guess, is that they're probably hoping to get him back for that Denver game. But I got to tell you, this would be a much bigger story in Kansas City circles, but Jalen Moore's played so well that I think people have kind of been like, all right, well, whatever. Hopefully everything's all right. When he comes back, he comes back. Now, Jalen Moore rolls an ankle Monday night. That's going to change drastically. But for now, they've been fine. But it is an odd situation. Nobody really has a ton of details on it. And to the Chiefs, I guess, credit, they haven't spilled the beans. But yeah, the rumors have flown all over the place, from really benign things to really odd things, none of which are worth commenting on. But it's been odd. It has been very strange.
We're previewing Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football with Chiefs insider Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated. He also is the co-host of an NFL podcast, That Football Show, on the KC Sports Network. The Chiefs' top skill position players, receivers Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Marquise Brown, tight end Travis Kelce, running backs Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. The Chiefs' most important skill position player is who?
Rice, because he can basically force defenses to play certain coverages. Like, He's not a burner. Oddly enough, like they have three different guys in Brown, Thornton, and Worthy who all ran a 4.240, and yet Rice is a guy who ran like 4.49, I think it was, and he's the guy who's the biggest threat because he just wins on a variety of routes. He's a great intermediate route runner, so he's going to run a lot of crossing routes, a lot of stuff in between the numbers. And he's just really good at running after the catch. He's not fast necessarily compared to, in fact, on that team, he's slow, but he's a bigger bodied guy. He runs phenomenal routes, and Mahomes and he have a great chemistry. So Worthy's dangerous in the sense that he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's not as good as Rice, but Worthy is extremely explosive. Like if you can get the ball in his hands with some space, it can be a match race down the field. Kelsey's still good. He's certainly not what he once was, but he's on pace for over 900 yards. He's still a good player. He's still really good on third down with them because they'll just let him run an option route. And Mahomes and he are usually on the same page. But Rice, I would argue that it's Rice just based on the fact that when he's really rolling, it's not uncommon for him to have 10, 11, 12 catches in a game. I mean, they'll just spam 2 or 3 different concepts all night long. And it's hard to double him because of all the speed on the outside. It becomes very problematic. You're not going to drop a safety down. And so what teams have really tried to do mostly in the last month is just play 2 high shell coverages, zone defense, keep the top on the and by proxy, Rice is going to get one-on-ones underneath, and he usually wins them.
The Commanders' top running back is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. They took him in the 7th round of the 2025 NFL Draft out of the University of Arizona. The Chiefs' RB1, Isaiah Pacheco, he was taken by the team in the 7th round of the 2022 NFL Draft out of Rutgers. He's having a good season. He, for this regular season, has a rushing success rate of 59.1, which is great. What stands out to you about Pacheco?
He's a tough runner. He gets a lot of yards after contact. You know, his vision isn't the best, but he's like Kareem Hunt probably has better vision, but Kareem Hunt just runs like a flat 40 at this point. So he's much more short yardage. Pacheco, tough runner, hard to bring down, very rarely gets tackled by the first guy. And he's got some speed to him. He's certainly not a burner, but he's a guy that if he gets into the open space, he can get some yardage. With Pacheco, they almost exclusively run between the tackles. It's very rare that he'll run outside. In fact, that's kind of typical of them, period. They would much rather run inside. They're going to run outside. It's probably going to be a jet sweep. It's probably going to be something to Worthy or Brown or Thornton where they're trying to get a guy in motion with a full head of steam. They've tried to run out of the under center stuff more. They ran a lot of shotgun inside zone to start the year, and it was a disaster. They could not run the ball. And they've switched to getting under center for more of it, and that has been far more effective. But I would argue, quite frankly, the best running back on the team is Mahomes. Mahomes has been the best runner on the team. In fact, up to last week, he was leading the team in rushing. So they run the ball with the idea of just being efficient enough that it's got to be respected. They don't care if they run for 150 yards. It doesn't matter to them. They just want to get in the 2nd and 6. They want to get in the 3rd and 3, but if they get 4 yards a carry, they're good. They're fine. That's all they're trying to do.
Yeah, Andy Reid, during his time as Philadelphia Eagles head coach, took a lot of heat for that offensive philosophy, but it turns out that he was just years ahead of his time. So Patrick Mahomes, he for this regular season through Week 7 was number 3 among all qualified NFL quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR, 77.7. This is his 9th NFL season. This is his 8th season as the Chiefs QB1. This is his age 30 season. Is Mahomes at the peak of his powers? Is he past the peak of his powers? How would you describe where we're at in his outstanding career?
I think the way he's playing this year is the best I've ever seen him play in terms of the complete understanding of what he needs to do. Like early in his career, so there's a weird way to word this, but the most fun it was to ever watch him was the very beginning of his career. Because it was like a guy going to a casino and just like hitting like on an 18 a blackjack, right? It was insane. Like he would just do anything on any given play, and you just never knew what the hell was going to happen. Like it was fascinating to watch him play football because, he famously on that, I think it's defunct now. Maybe there's this Shop on HBO with LeBron James, where like he went on it once, a couple of years into his career, and basically it was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm still learning how to like figure out what a defense is doing. And it, like when he played, it was almost like watching an artist paint. Now he's very, very good at understanding pre-snap. Okay, this is what I've got. This is what I should be doing. And he actually talked about this offseason, how I feel like I know it too well. Like I'm almost pre-programming myself to just throw where the ball should go instead of seeing if the defense makes an error first or if our guy wins on a route. And that kind of the last couple, especially last year, was a problem with them where they would leave plays on the table because he would just take the ball, know that this 8-yard route should be open. Whereas like, man, if he just looked up, they busted the coverage. That has changed this year, where now he's gotten to the point where, okay, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's cover 2. This shouldn't be open, but I'm going to look at it first anyway. They've hit on a lot more deep balls this year. I think he's 10th in completed air yards in the league. And this is like, it's hard to say they're better at receiver than they've ever been because like they had years with Tyreek Hill where it was basically impossible to deal with him. This is the deepest receiving core they've ever had, where they can just put out Brown and Juju and Worthy and Rice and Kelsey and Gray and this 7th-round pick, Rashard Smith, who they love, who's a running back, but he's a converted receiver, so they put him in patterns. Like, he just has infinitely better options than he's had the last few seasons. And I think as a result of all that, plus his knowledge, and like he's playing the game at a higher cerebral level than he ever has. And that's married to his skill sets physically still being as good as it's ever been. So I think he's in complete command of everything they want to do.
And with Andy Reid, so he now is 67. He was the Eagles head coach for 14 seasons. This is his 13th season as Chiefs head coach. He is Chiefs head coach, has a regular season winning percentage of .724, which is absurd. And he as Chiefs head coach is 18-8 in the playoffs, has won 3 Super Bowls and 5 AFC championships. How much longer do you see him being Chiefs head coach?
I could be wrong. I think he's signed for like this in 4 more years. So, I mean, I think all these guys, I mean, they're football lifers and that, but like he really, like it's just his life. Like I think he's waited so long to have this quarterback. You know, in Philadelphia, they had McNabb, who was excellent, but then they kind of went through a lot of different guys, you know, the Vicks and the Cobbs, everybody else. They got to Kansas City in the first 5 years he was there. It was Alex Smith. And Alex Smith did a good job for the Chiefs. He helped make them respectable and everything else and helped with Mahomes. But like this, I would imagine, has to be the most fun he's ever had. I mean, they're a dynasty and Mahomes is great. My guess is he'll probably be there like, I don't know, 3 to 5 more years. It'd be my guess. I mean, hell, Carroll's 74 years old coaching the Raiders. So, you know, you wonder, is he going to try to go for the all-time wins record? My guess is to do that, he's probably going to have to coach about 4 to 5 more seasons. Maybe he does, you know, and you wonder too, like if let's say out of the next 4 years, if they somehow win like 2 more, does he just go and try to tie Belichick? Like, I know the guys like Andy Reid will downplay that in the media, but let's be real. Like, of course, they're all competitive as how they want to do it. So I think he'll probably at least be there for 3 more seasons. That'd be my guess.
Chiefs insider Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated. He also is the co-host of an NFL podcast, That Football Show, on the KC Sports Network. Matt, thanks. All the best.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right. Nova Fireplace and Stove. It is Northern Virginia's go-to expert for fireplaces. So transform the look and feel of your home and increase its value by visiting Nova Fireplace and Stove in Woodbridge, Virginia, or by visiting novafireplaceandstove.com. And make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you for $25 off any service. Come in and see Nova Fireplace and Stove's stunning displays, including custom fireplace glass doors and stone refacing options that can completely transform the look of your fireplace. From sleek and modern to rustic and cozy, Nova Fireplace and Stove has something for every style. And here's what else Nova Fireplace and Stove offers: gas fireplace service and repair, chimney cleaning and brickwork repair, generator installation, panel replacements, and water heater repairs, smoke detectors, security lights, and more. Nova Fireplace and Stove is a family-owned, fully licensed and insured company with over-the-top credentials, gas and electrical master's licenses, a Class A contract contractor's license, and a long list of 5-star reviews to back all of this up. Every job includes a free in-home estimate, and for listeners of the Al Galdi podcast, Nova Fireplace and Stove is offering $25 off any service. Just mention this ad. Nova Fireplace and Stove only works in Northern Virginia and thus knows the homes, the codes, and the people. Your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed. That's Nova Fireplace and Stove in Woodbridge, Virginia, or NovaFireplaceandStove.com. And make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you for $25 off any service. Nova Fireplace and Stove, where comfort meets craftsmanship, and your fireplace becomes the heart of your home. The Washington Commanders franchise is just 1-10 all-time in regular season games against the Kansas City Chiefs franchise. The one win happened on September 18th, 1983, a 27-12 Redskins win over the Chiefs at RFK Stadium. So the Commanders franchise has never won a game at the Chiefs. Will that change on Monday night? Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football at 8:15. My friends, it is that time, the time to rhyme. It is time for Rhyming Keys, my keys to a Commanders win in rhyming fashion. Understand, these rhymes, they are not meant to be good, and they are not good. They are quite bad, in fact. The rhymes are only meant to make a few points, and in fact, I have a saying for this segment, indeed a rhyme for the segment. The saying is counterintuitive, but trust me, the saying is true. The worse the rhyme, the better the time. And so let's have a good time. Here we go. Hardcore analysis combined with scheduled fun. Rhyming keys for Commanders at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. How do the Commanders win this game? We now rhyme the ways. Rhyming key number 1. This is for Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury and the man who will be the Commanders starting quarterback in this game, Marcus Mariota. Use the read option. Use the scramble. Do not be afraid to take that gamble. Marcus Mariota is a quality runner as a quarterback. The Commanders' best defense on Monday night is possessing the football, keeping the Chiefs' offense off the field. A quality rushing offense is a great way to win the time of possession battle, and Marcus Mariota can very much be part of a quality rushing offense. He, over his 2 regular seasons as a Commanders quarterback, has 28 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. Consider what he has done in this regular season. The 41-24 win over the Las Vegas Raiders at Northwest Stadium on September 21st. Mariota had 6 carries for 40 yards, a touchdown, and yes, a lost fumble, but he in that game had a 14-yard shotgun read option run. The 34-27 loss at the Atlanta Falcons on September 28th, Mariota had 2 carries for 20 yards, including a 22-yard shotgun scramble. The 44-22 loss at the Dallas Cowboys on October 19th, Mariota had 2 carries for 34 yards, a 25-yard pistol read option run, and a 9-yard pistol read option run. Marcus Mariota runs the read option very well, perhaps better than the QB1, Jaden Daniels, and Mariota can scramble. His mobility is a weapon that needs to be exploited on Monday night. And so rhyming key number 1, this for Cliff Kingsbury and Marcus Mariota. Use the read option, use the scramble, do not be afraid to take that gamble. Rhyming key for Commanders at the Chiefs number 2. This is for the Commanders' defensive front. Use Jawan like a pawn. The Chiefs' starting right tackle is Jawan Taylor. He is a penalty machine. His list of NFL career regular season and postseason penalties is like a receipt from CVS. Taylor for this regular season through Week 7 was tied for number 1 in the NFL in total penalties with 8. Taylor for the 2024 regular season was number 3 in the NFL in total penalties with 17. Taylor for the 2023 regular season was number 1 in the NFL in total penalties with 19. You get the idea. The guy is a penalty machine. He can't help himself. False start, offensive holding, illegal formation. His is a penalty habit with variety, but the Commanders' defensive front should do all it can to tempt Taylor, to bait Taylor, to trick Taylor, whatever, into committing as many penalties as possible. And so, rhyming key number 2, this for the Commanders' defensive front, use Jawan like a pawn. And rhyming key for Commanders at the Chiefs number 3, this is for the entire Commanders team. Do not come out dead in this game at Arrowhead. This game taking place at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. And this game is the latest opportunity for our Commanders to not get slaughtered in a first quarter. The Commanders in their loss at the Cowboys lost the first quarter 17-8. The Commanders in this regular season have a first quarter point differential of -31, including -34 over the last 4 games, during which the team is just 1-3. The bad starts are killing this team. All 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams, have played roles in the bad starts, but the bad starts have got to stop. The Commanders for this game are a massive underdog. The classic way to pull off an upset is to keep the game surprisingly close, right? A bad start is not what this team needs. Another bad start very likely would lead to another ugly loss. And so rhyming key number 3, this for the entire Commanders team: do not come out dead in this game at Arrowhead. All right, it is prediction time. The consensus line per Action Network for this game as of Sunday night was Commanders +12. I am taking the Commanders plus the points, and I am calling for the upset win. Nobody expects the Commanders to win this game. I have not talked to a single person who expects the Commanders to win this game, and so that is precisely why they will win this game. The defense shockingly rises to the occasion. The Chiefs commit 2 uncharacteristic turnovers. Keep in mind, there is a legitimate possibility of rain during the game. And on the 11-year anniversary of the Colt McCoy game, we have the Marcus Mariota game. Final score, Commanders 23, Chiefs 20. Marcus Mariota, 275 combined passing and rushing yards. Well, an odd weekend for the Washington Capitals. Friday night, a blowout win. Saturday night, a blowout loss. Friday night, a 5-1 win at the Columbus Blue Jackets. We had a scoreless first period. The Caps won the second period 1-0, and the Caps won the third period 4-1. But Saturday night, a 7-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators at Capital One Arena. The Caps in the NHL's 2025-2026 regular season now are 6-3-0, and there is an injury concern coming out of this loss on Saturday night. Caps top-line center Dylan Strome sustained a lower body injury in the first period and ended up leaving the game. The Caps in the game did get back a center in Pierre-Luc Dubois. The Caps on Saturday afternoon announced having activated Dubois from injured reserve, which he had been on due to having suffered a lower body injury in the Caps' 1-0 win at the New York Rangers on October 12th. Dubois on Saturday night served as the Caps' second-line center and was number 3 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 67.86. The Caps with Dubois on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 19 shot attempts versus allowing just 9 shot attempts. He did commit a first-period roughing minor. Also, the Caps on Saturday afternoon announced having loaned forward Ethan Frank to their AHL affiliate, the Hershey Bears. But also on the injury front, the Caps now are without defenseman Rasmus Sandin. He did not play in either game over the weekend due to an upper body injury. 2 very different goaltending performances for the Caps over the weekend. The 5-1 win at the Blue Jackets on Friday night. The Caps starting goaltender was Logan Thompson. He was great. He stopped 34 of the 35 shots on goal that he faced, and he had a secondary assist. Thompson, per natural stat trick, stopped 12 of the 13 high-danger shots on goal that he faced. Just a tremendous performance. The Caps went 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. They won 5-1 despite losing the puck possession battle. They had 30 shots on goal to the Blue Jackets' 35, and per natural stat trick had just 38 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Blue Jackets' 52, including just 8 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Blue Jackets' 15. But the 7-1 loss to the Senators on Saturday night, the Caps starting goaltender was Charlie Lindgren. He stopped just 27 of the 34 shots on goal that he faced, and he committed a second-period goalie leave crease 2-minute minor penalty. Lindgren, per natural stat trick, stopped just 9 of the 15 high-danger shots on goal that he faced. The Caps went just 1 for 4 on the penalty kill. Look, Lindgren was not good, but he certainly was not helped out enough by those around him. The Caps had just 13 shots on goal to the Senators' 34, even though each team per natural stat trick had 46 5-on-5 shot attempts. However, the Caps per natural stat trick had just 8 5-on-5 high-danger shot attempts to the Senators' 16. Caps head coach Spencer Carberry was not at all happy during his post-game press conference on Saturday night. Take a listen to this exchange between Caps insider Mike Vogel of WashingtonCaps.com and Carberry, and then a follow-up exchange between Caps insider Bailey Johnson of the Washington Post and Carberry.
Why do you think you guys weren't able to get on track offensively in this one? You had almost as many shot attempts as them, but it just didn't seem on the mark at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in play, Vogues. I just thought we were, disappointing. We were not good in any facet of the game. Right from puck drop, like first breakout of the game, we give Drew a grade A by himself sitting in our net front, and it just was continued the same for majority of the hockey game. So not good enough, embarrassing performance at home from our group.
Is that a tough game to watch? Charlie Lindgren coming in on the second half of it?
Yeah, I mean you feel for him because he's being thrown to the wolves there, which I know his teammates that they love him and don't want him to be in that situation. But yeah, you feel terrible for him.
Well, an interesting weekend for the grade 8 Alex Ovechkin. The 5-1 win at the Blue Jackets on Friday night. Ovechkin served as the Caps' top-line right wing. He scored an even-strength goal, 1:36 into the third period for a second goal in this regular season, and he had a primary assist. So Ovi now has 899 career NHL regular season goals, the most in NHL history, one goal shy of 900. And the goal that he scored on Friday night was his 336 career regular season third period goal, tying Wayne Gretzky for the most regular season third period goals in NHL history. And then the 7-1 loss to the Senators on Saturday night. Ovechkin served as the Caps' top-line left wing. He played in the 1,500th game of his NHL regular season career, became just the 8th player in NHL history to play in at least 1,500 career regular season games with one franchise, but Ovi had no points and just one shot on goal. The Caps in their 5-1 win at the Blue Jackets on Friday night went 2 for 5 on the power play, giving the Caps at least one power play goal in each of 5 consecutive games. Caps second-line right wing Tom Wilson scored a power play goal 15:39 into the third period for his 5th goal in this regular season. But the Caps in the 7-1 loss to the Senators on Saturday night went 0 for 2 on the power play. Caps scratches over the weekend. The 5-1 win at the Blue Jackets on Friday night. Defenseman Dylan McElrath and winger Sonny Milano were healthy scratches. The 7-1 loss to the Senators on Saturday night. Defenseman Declan Chisholm and winger Sonny Milano were healthy scratches. Next up for the Caps at the Dallas Stars, Tuesday night at 8:30. Well, few things say more things about our rebuilding and tanking Washington Wizards than this. They have not had a winning record in a regular season since being 11-10 in late November 2022. Yes, late November 2022. We're currently in late October 2025. And the Wizards on Sunday evening blew a chance to have that ever-elusive winning record in a regular season. 2 games for the Wizards over the weekend. Friday night, a 117-107 win at the Dallas Mavericks in a game in which the Wizards overcame a 14-point first-quarter deficit and led for the entire second half. But Sunday evening, a 139-113 loss to the Charlotte Hornets at Capital One Arena in a game in which the Wizards blew a 13-point third-quarter lead. They, in the third quarter, led by 13 points at 64-51. The Wizards lost the rest of the game 88-49 in this, their home opener in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season, in which the Wizards now are 1-2. 2 very different games defensively for the Wizards over the weekend. The win at the Mavericks on Friday night, the Wizards' defense was good. They held the Mavericks to just 10 for 34 on threes and just 28 for 54 on twos, and totaled 11 steals and generating 21 turnovers by the Mavericks. 3 Maverick starters, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Davis and P.J. Washington combined for 18 turnovers, but the loss to the Hornets on Sunday evening, the Wizards' defense had big-time problems. First of all, the Wizards allowed the Hornets to score a whopping 139 points, but also the Wizards got shredded by Hornets point guard LaMelo Ball. He, in 34 minutes, 38 seconds as a starter, went 5 for 12 on threes, 8 for 13 on twos, and 7 for 7 on free throws. He finished with 38 points, 13 assists versus 4 turnovers, 13 rebounds, including 4 offensive boards, 3 steals, and a game-best plus-minus rating of plus 32. LaMelo Ball had his way with our team, but 3 key young players for our team to be aware of in terms of how those guys did over the weekend: Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, and Trey Johnson. A really good weekend for Alex Sarr. The win at the Mavericks on Friday night, Sarr was outstanding defensively. He, when guarding Anthony Davis, held him to 0 for 3 on threes and 3 for 6 on twos, had 2 blocks and generated 3 turnovers. And Sarr, in 25-42 as a starter, went 0 for 1 on threes, 5 for 9 on twos, and 4 for 4 on free throws. He finished with 14 points, 9 rebounds, including 3 offensive boards, 5 assists, and 3 blocks. He did commit 4 turnovers, but the loss to the Hornets on Sunday evening, Sarr, in 25-09 as a starter, went 1 for 3 on threes, 8 for 12 on twos, and 2 for 2 on free throws, and finished with 21 points, 5 assists versus 2 turnovers, 4 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Keyshawn George, boy, talk about a tale of 2 games. The win at the Mavericks on Friday night, George went nuclear. He, in 35-18 as a starter, went 7 for 9 on threes, 4 for 6 on twos, and 5 for 5 on free throws. He finished with 34 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and a game-best plus-minus rating of plus 14. He did commit 5 turnovers, but George joined Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama as the only players at age 21 or younger in NBA history to have a regular season game in which the player had at least 30 points, at least 5 made threes, at least 10 rebounds, at least 2 blocks, and at least 2 steals. Keyshawn George, Luka Doncic, and Victor Wembanyama, the only players at age 21 or younger in league history to have such a game in a regular season. But the loss to the Hornets on Sunday evening, much different story for Keyshawn George. 24-51 as a starter, 0 for 4 on threes, did not have a single free throw attempt, scored just 6 points, committed 3 turnovers, had a game-worst plus-minus rating of minus 22, and fouled out. He did go 3 for 3 on twos and did also finish with 8 rebounds and 5 assists. And Trey Johnson, he continues to look good as a rookie. The win at the Mavericks on Friday night, Johnson in 26-16 off the bench, 3 for 6 on threes, 4 for 7 on twos. He did not attempt a free throw. He finished with 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists versus no turnovers. And the loss to the Hornets on Sunday evening, Johnson in 29-04 off the bench, went just 2 for 7 on threes, but also 4 for 7 on twos and 4 for 4 on free throws. He finished with 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists versus no turnovers. Trey Johnson and Alex Sarr, your 2 biggest positives for the Wizards so far this season. Next up for the Wizards, home to the Philadelphia 76ers, Tuesday night at 7. Time now to talk college football. We just had week 9 of the 2025 season. We on Saturday had 4 of the 7 FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region in action, and all 4 of the teams won. Navy improved to 7-0 overall, including 5-0 in the AAC, with a 42-32 win over Florida Atlantic at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland on Saturday in the Midshipmen's homecoming game. The victory is Navy's 10th consecutive win going back to last season, tying the program record for most consecutive wins. The victory improves Navy to 7-0 in a season for the first time since 1978. What a season Navy is having. And Navy, for the Associated Press Top 25 poll that came out on Sunday afternoon, is number 1 among others receiving votes. So Navy essentially is number 26 in the latest AP Top 25 poll in terms of teams in the FBS. Also among others receiving votes, by the way, is James Madison. But Navy in this win over FAU at halftime held a 21-13 lead. We then had a scoreless third quarter, and we then had a fourth quarter that Navy won 21-19, although FAU scored 2 garbage time touchdowns to trim a 42-19 Navy lead to 42-32. But Navy's offense was great. The Mids generated 503 total net yards of offense, averaged 7.29 yards per play, and went 6 for 11 on third downs. Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, another good game. We on Friday's show, episode 1184, discussed the viability of Horvath as a candidate for the Heisman Trophy. Well, Horvath in this win over FAU had 21 carries for 174 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not bad. He is a passer, went 8 for 12 for 83 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. He took no sacks. Blake Horvath for this season through week 9 is number 33 among all qualified FBS quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR, 72.0. Horvath for this season through week 9 is tied for number 2 in the FBS in rushing touchdowns, 12, and is number 8 in the FBS in rushing yards, 814. Another standout for Navy was slot back Brandon Chapman. He had 10 carries for 141 yards, and he had 5 receptions for 43 yards on 5 targets. And Navy's defense, which overall has not been good this season, had a mixed game. The Mids allowed FAU to amass 450 total net yards of offense and average 5.56 yards per play. But the Mids generated 3 takeaways, held FAU to just 5 for 18 on third downs, but also allowed FAU to go a staggering 7 for 7 on fourth downs. But a salute to Navy linebacker Coleman Cawley. He recorded a career-high 9 tackles, forced a fumble that he recovered, and intercepted a pass, and he did all of this in his first career start. What a job by Coleman Cawley. This was the opening statement of Navy head coach Brian Newberry's post-game press conference on Saturday evening.
10 straight, ties the school record. We've been playing football around here for a long time. That's a big deal. Really proud of our guys. And keep finding ways to win. Thought we played really well at times. Thought defensively, probably 3.5 quarters, we played really, really well. There was a couple of explosive plays that we gave up in the first half that led to 10 points. 2 post balls and quarters coverage, and we got to do a better job there. I think the one big storyline was 3 turnovers that led to 21 points. I thought we were pretty opportunistic on defense. Thought we had some guys that really, really played well. Coleman Cawley, this guy stood out to me getting his first start at Mike linebacker. Don't remember all the numbers, 9 tackles. He had a forced fumble that I thought was probably the play of the game. It was what we call an EAT play, an effort, attitude, toughness play. He chases a guy down the sideline that looks like maybe going for a touchdown. He runs down there, hustles his rear end off, and knocks the ball out. It was huge play in the game. I think it was an 8-point game at that point. Had a recovered fumble as well, and an interception. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, he recovered the one he forced. All right. But yeah, I was really, really proud of him, man. He's got to work his tail off, and got opportunity to start and made the most of it. Adam Clank, continues to make huge plays. When he's in there, I keep saying this, we got to find a way to get him on the field more. But 2 sacks and a forced fumble, big time play. And then offensively, Brandon Chapman really played his tail off tonight. I think he rushed for 143 yards or something like that. But he's just a pound for pound, probably the toughest kid on our football team, and just a competitor. Really proud of him. Blake did his thing, played really well, and I hated not that we didn't get points there at the end of the half. We got to sequence our plays, and we got to get in the end zone there. And if you do that, it's 28-13 going in. You get the ball coming out. First 2 possessions offensively in the second half. Turned it over on downs. Didn't sequence our plays great on one of those, and we got to do a better job there. But really proud of our players. Again, it's a special group of young men. They just keep finding ways to win, and didn't love the way we finished. But hey, we got to clean some things up, with the hands team, and got to execute better on defense in those situations. But proud to get a win. Proud of our players, and we say that November's for the real ones, and the schedule's about to get real. So we got a lot of work in front of us. We have to continue to get better, have a chance to win any of these games coming up. But we'll celebrate this for 24 hours, and it's on to a really, really good North Texas team.
Yeah, next up for Navy at North Texas, Saturday at noon. Yet another overtime win for Virginia. This is something. Then number 16 Virginia improved to 7-1 overall, including 4-0 in the ACC, with a 17-16 overtime win at North Carolina on Saturday afternoon. Virginia for this game was the number 16 team in the FBS in the Associated Press Top 25 poll that came out on October 19th. And UVA off this win moved up to being the number 15 team in the FBS in the Associated Press Top 25 poll that came out on Sunday afternoon. This win at UNC gives UVA its first winning streak of at least 6 games since the 2007 season and gives UVA its most victories in a season since going 9-5 overall in the 2019 season. But regarding that 6-game winning streak, 3 of the last 4 wins have been overtime wins, and each of the last 4 wins has been a one-score win. And how about the drama on Saturday afternoon? UVA stopped UNC on a 2-point conversion attempt on the final snap of the game. UNC head coach Bill Belichick could have attempted an extra point to extend the game, but instead went for the win. This game was not. Neither team scored a single point in the second half. The score at halftime, a 10-all tie, was the score at the end of the fourth quarter. UVA won despite the offense being really bad. The Cavaliers had just 259 total net yards of offense, averaged just 3.75 yards per play, and went to 7 for 18 on third downs. Cavs quarterback and North Texas transfer Chandler Morris did not have a good game. Now, Morris is dealing with an injured non-throwing shoulder, but he went just 20 for 35 for just 200 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He took 6 sacks, which totaled minus 44 yards in lost yardage. He had 3 carries for 23 yards when you take out the 6 sacks that he took. And he had 2 fumbles, though neither of them was a lost fumble. But UVA's defense was good. The Wahoos held UNC to a yards per play of just 4.71 and to just 5 for 15 on third downs, had 3 sacks and generated 3 takeaways, 2 interceptions and a fumble. And so, yes, once again, UVA escaped with a win. Here was UVA head coach Tony Elliott during his postgame press conference on Saturday afternoon on if the Who's recent experience in close games helped the team in this overtime win at UNC.
Yeah, huge. That's what I told the guys, man. We've been here before, right? Unfortunately, this is what we do, right? We take it all the way down to the end, but. And I can sense the same, just like the same attitude and belief as I did in the Florida State game, and I think that kind of started it, and then it carried over into the Louisville game, and then today. So the guys just had confidence that we're gonna play however long it takes, and that's one of the bedrocks of our program is we play 60 minutes or however long it takes to find a way to win the game.
All right, next up for Virginia at Cal, Saturday afternoon at 3:45. Up next, wins for Virginia Tech and Old Dominion, but please consider subscribing to this podcast if you're not already doing that. Subscribing to the podcast costs nothing. Make sure that you never miss an episode and helps out the podcast a lot. And if you're already subscribing, thank you. More now on Week 9 of the 2025 college football season as it relates to the FBS teams of the Mid-Atlantic region. I mentioned Virginia's next game being at Cal. Cal's general manager, as you may know, is former Washington Redskins / Washington football team / Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera. Yes, our guy Ron is the GM for Cal. And Cal on Friday night lost in double overtime at Virginia Tech. The Hokies improved to 3-5 overall, including 2-2 in the ACC, with a 42-34 double overtime win over Cal at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia on Friday night. Wild game. The Hokies blew a 10-0 first quarter lead, overcame a 20-10 halftime deficit, blew a 27-20 fourth quarter lead, and then won in double overtime. The Hokies' offense was quite good. Tech generated 476 total net yards of offense, averaged 6.26 yards per play, and went 8 for 16 on third downs and 1 for 1 on fourth downs. Tech had 357 total net yards rushing to Cal's 39. Big game for Hokies running back and Central Missouri transfer Marcellus Hawkins. He had 21 carries for 167 yards. And Hokies quarterback Kyron Drones had a mixed game, but that did include him having a big game as a runner. He completed just 9 of his 18 pass attempts. He threw for just 119 yards. He took 3 sacks, which totaled minus 18 yards in lost yardage. But Drones had 3 touchdown passes versus 1 interception. And Drones had 18 carries for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns when you take out the 3 sacks that he took. The Hokies rushing offense in this game was terrific. During the post-game press conference of Hokies interim head coach Philip Montgomery, late night on Friday night, had this exchange between Hokies football insider Andy Bitter of Tech Sideline and Montgomery.
You finished with 357 rushing. Was there a point in that game that you're just thinking they can't stop us on the ground?
Well, we made some adjustments at halftime. And I thought as we added a couple of different layers to it, being able to attack a little bit more outside, we really got Kyron a lot more involved in the run game in the second half. He did a tremendous job of that. You look at what Hawk was able to do, just had some explosive runs. The first guy doesn't bring him down. I think he had 167. I can't see it without my glasses on. So 167, which was huge. And I thought coming out in the second half, we made some big throws down the field.
Okay, next up for Virginia Tech, home to Louisville, Saturday afternoon at 3. And Old Dominion's 2-game losing streak is over. ODU improved to 5-3 overall, including 2-2 in the Sun Belt Conference with a 24-21 win over Appalachian State at SB Ballard Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia on Saturday afternoon. In ODU's homecoming game, the Monarchs now are a win away from bowl eligibility this season. Now, this game ended up being a lot closer than it should have been. The Monarchs at the end of the third quarter had a 24-7 lead, but then lost the fourth quarter 14-0. But ODU quarterback Colton Joseph had a good game. He completed just 21 of his 35 pass attempts, but he threw for 310 yards. He had a yards per pass attempt of 8.86 and a yards per completion of 14.76. He had 3 touchdown passes versus 1 interception. He took just 1 sack, which was for a mere 3-yard loss. He had 17 carries for 64 yards when you take out the sack that he took. Colton Joseph for this season through week 9 is number 27 among all qualified FBS quarterbacks in ESPN's total QBR, 74.0. Next up for Old Dominion at ULM, Saturday afternoon at 3:30. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Tuesday show, episode 1186. We'll have plenty for you on the Washington Commanders, in-depth reaction to and analysis of their game at the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
It's a critical game for us. Very critical. It's a home game, number one. We're going to play a very tough, spirited Tampa Bay team coming off a bye again. Healthy Tampa Bay team. That's critical. It's code red for us.